It's 9. We got a bunch of people jumping on right quick, so we'll give it 20 more seconds, and I respect everybody's time. All right. Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope everybody survived the week. Weeks are flying by, which is actually kind of interesting. I think we're all busy, which is good. So let's hit it, and I'll leave some time for y'all to chat. I need to ask y'all a few questions. For strange thing, there's more. I mean, there's a lot going on everywhere, but there's a lot going at the State House, federal level. Don't know if y'all caught this, but Jennifer Granholm was in town this week, Secretary of Energy, taking a tour out of Westinghouse, and she went down to Charleston and discussed a potential expansion of the Clemson wind project down there. A few years ago, Clyburn was very instrumental in getting a $45 million grant for Clemson to start their wind program at the old Navy base. And so he had Granholm, former Michigan governor, who's now Secretary of Energy, down. But before that, she actually spent some time in Columbia touring the Westinghouse facility. So that's good. There was an article in the paper about, or some news, I guess it was a newspaper, about the Clemson visit, but not about the Westinghouse visit. Shocker. So it'd be interesting to hear what that is all about. We talked about this before about the economy and just from a national level, what's happening. You know, January's numbers were worse than December's numbers as far as inflation goes. I think we're up to 7.9% inflation here in South Carolina, which is unbelievable. Add to that, again, the supply chain disruptions that we are having all over the world. Get your guacs now, guys. Get your guacamole fix done, because we're in a heck of a mess. I was trying to think of something funny to say about avocados, but with the embargo of Mexican avocados, you're going to see prices have gone from last year, they were $1 a piece, now to $3 a piece. That's crazy. So anyway, the great extinction of avocados and guacamole is on the forefront. Also, if y'all are buying $150,000 cars coming from Europe, you may be in a pickle. Did y'all see that ship that's floundering in the Atlantic Gulf fire, and all the employees abandoned ship? So they got 4,000 luxury cars floating or on fire, in the Atlantic. I can't imagine paying 150 grand for a car, period. But if I did, and waiting on it, and it's floating around in the Atlantic on fire. But think about this: 4,000 luxury vehicles, Bentleys, Porsches. That's got to sting. I guess that's not even first world problems. Is that like a 1%, half of a percent of first world problems? Whatever. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. All right, but the bigger news is on the state level, and I hope y'all caught this. It was a big day this week, or big week this week at the State House. You've got competing tax cuts hitting legislature. The governor and the House made a proposal on Wednesday. It basically takes the marginal tax rate for individuals from 7% down to about 6.5%, and then down to 6% over the next few years with some triggers, all to the tune of about $600 million. Harvey Peeler says, hold my coffee. And he came out with one yesterday that dropped it from 7% to 5.7%, and also gives $1 billion. You heard me right, $1 billion in one-time tax rebate back to South Carolinians. So I have been been over the State House for, let's say, 20 years. This is huge in a lot of ways, because you usually have them all on the same page when you talk about tax cuts. this is huge. This is big. And so part of that is North Carolina's reduction in their income taxes, as well as Georgia. But you had the biggest proponent of tax cuts in South Carolina, Sean Bennett out of Dorchester County, who refused to sign on and say we should not do these one-time things, but let's look at comprehensive tax reform. And so more importantly, he is one of the chief chairs of subcommittees for Senate Finance, working with Senator Peeler. So they're going to have to figure out a compromise. But I say this because, again, this week, BEA met again and say they have another $1 billion to spend. It's at this point, it's funny money in the sense that we say $1 billion like it's $20 or something like that, but it is a lot of money. And I think part of the argument is how much is too much, and what can they responsibly do? Because what you're seeing right now is one-time monies, and so you don't want to create annualizations, which is using one-time money to make annualized expenditures. And so you'll create a huge vacuum in years to come. And we had to battle that 20 years ago when Isaac Newton created this phenomenal theory of gravity, right? What goes up, what must come down. The same is true with the economy. We're good now, but in downtimes, we don't have the money to create all these new programs. So we'll be interested to see what happens there. As strange, if not stranger, is the Senate majority leader came up with a bill this week to penalize private sector businesses that implement mandates, vaccination mandates. We thought we had taken care of this back in December, but Shane Massey got frustrated with some of the some of the hospitals, and some of the city of North Charleston laid off 23 people for not getting vaccinations. And so he's pushing this through. Again, he's the majority leader and has a lot of clout. So we're going to be watching this one. Thanks to Bob at the state chamber for staying above this, staying on top of this, but we'll have to be watching that. Again, this is tricky. You also got at the same time a federal court case going to the Supreme Court on whether or not the U.S. government can mandate the military getting vaccinated. So the mandates against mandates are back up. So we'll keep watching that. But it's crazy, quite frankly.
Carl.
Yes.
Shane Massey was in a meeting that we had yesterday of local economic developers, and two things that he mentioned the Senate acting on. One was the passage of the repeal of the certificate of need, and secondarily, the approval of medical marijuana in the state. So in those two bills, they said were sent over to the House for the House to deal with what they passed. So we thought that was interesting. And he also talked about, to your point, the rationale behind why they're trying to lower taxes beneath 6%. He said that our taxes are equivalent to Louisiana, but we don't compete with them. And Georgia and North Carolina and Florida all around us are lower than us. And so their position is, if we're going to compete, we need to be in the same neighborhood as those states that we compete with.
Which is very true. The bigger problem in South Carolina is, and this is Sean Bennett's issue, is we're maybe not necessarily as competitive we're a little above the average in Southeast on income tax. However, your property taxes on your individual homes, basically the lowest in the country. So the overall net effect is we're middle of the pack, right? 24th in the country on our overall tax liability. The bigger hurdle, though, is our business taxes and commercial taxes. Industrial taxes are the bigger problem. And so I think there's validity to doing a comprehensive plan. The problem is we call that the silver. That's the Christmas tree bill, because once you start tackling exemptions, everybody's piling on, and it's harder to get something passed. But it just because it's harder doesn't mean we don't need to do it. Great points. That, by the way, Chuck, this is not to embarrass you, but we covered that stuff last week because we were all here and you were not. So, but that's okay. We covered the CON and the medical marijuana. I've already ribbed you on it, so never mind. He was taking his daughter on a birthday trip. So kudos to dad for doing that, but we were all working. Anyway, back to the my list. Let's see. Crazier things happened at State House. They did a 180. They voted down a bill in the State House to make Lancaster County, I think it was, is Lancaster, no, Chester County school board elections partisan. Okay, they voted that down. The next day they voted and reconsidered and they passed it. So they're allowing a local county to have partisan school board elections, which that's a head scratcher. Again, this is the funny season. You just keep all this in mind. We've got all members of the House of Representatives up for election this year. Filing is supposed to be in March, so they do funny things before that. I'm not saying it's for election outcome. I'm not that cynical, but they're doing crazy stuff. Bigger things that next week, the Ways and Means Committee is taking up the budget. So all eyes will be on them to spend this truckload of money that they have. Kudos to Merle Smith, though, the chair. He is truly looking at taking some money out of spending and saving it for a big project, which is great. All right, local stuff. Great article in the paper about home prices. The realtors put out some data about January. Interesting numbers for us because our numbers have actually held pretty good relative to other parts of the state, meaning our January always sees a dip. January is just a slow month for everybody typically, but home prices only dropped just a little bit relative to December, but they're still well above what they were in January of 2021. That's interesting in itself, but crazier. Back about 5 to 6 years ago, on average in January, there were 4,000 homes on the market. Right now, there's 800 homes on the market, which is inflating prices even more. So if you're trying to sell your house, congratulations. If you're trying to buy one, my apologies. It's a tough one. So, but there are plenty of opportunities, but there's not a plenty. There's a few opportunities out there, but that's going to be good for us in Columbia for a little while. It's going to put more pressure on new home markets to build some new homes, which we have been short since 2015. So builders should be busy. All right, let's see what else I got. Thoughts go out to Hammond School this week. That was a big fire they had. The classes in the lower school were dropped yesterday, but swiftly they're back today. That's pretty impressive. Over $1 million I hear in damages at Hammond, but the building will probably have to be torn down, but they have brought in modules in one day and they're back up. So good for them. I'm sure the kids were thinking they had a little bit longer, but anyway, really excited. Listen, we've got some great coffee shops around town. The Roastery, one of my favorites, by the way. But I'm also excited about Biddy and Bose coming to Columbia. I don't know if y'all saw that announcement. Biddy and Bose has got a great story. They use kids with disabilities to run their coffee shop. They hadn't set a location or time, but they did announce this week that they're coming to Columbia. Bigger issue for Columbia and South Carolina. The great cookie shortage is happening as well. Don't know if you saw this by the Girl Scouts, but we've been warned. Our cookie sales this year up 52%, with less Girl Scout troops participating. But right now there is a shortage and they can't get any more. So supply chain hits us yet again. I hope you were able to successfully get your cookies. If not, think fast today. And I'll leave on this one because this one is somewhat disturbing at the same time as intriguing all hodgepodge. Hostess, y'all all know the company Hostess that makes healthy snacks for everybody, are making even a healthier snack today. It's called Boost Donuts. I kid you not. Each donut has 50 to 70 milligrams of caffeine. What better to go with your coffee than caffeinated donuts? There's a market for that somewhere, I guess. I just never would have thought of it. So more healthier snacks from Hostess. All right, with that, I can't outdo that. I hope y'all can. What's happening in your world today? Anything going on that we need to know about? Oh, I do want to give a shout out. We had over 120 people at Small Business Group this week. I want to thank the Fireflies for hosting this. It was a great event, and it's good to be back in person with that group. But it shows that there's a lot of people who want to get out. So really appreciate everybody coming out. So thanks to the Fireflies. All right, back to y'all. Anything coming up that we need to know about? Take a swig of Java, and or I'm gonna start calling on some people.
You know, Carl, with your talk about the avocados, it seems to me that here in South Carolina, don't we have the climate that we could grow avocados?
I would think
Maybe we talk to the state agriculture department about starting to plant some avocados.
I think that's a great idea. No need to import them. We can grow them here. We had somebody that tried to do an alfalfa farm, and they're made in California, so it's the same climate. Might as well. All right, what else we got?
Carl.
Yes.
Obviously, I was out of the country and had a question about, has anybody been following what's happening with the truckers and the convoy that's going to disrupt the supply chain that's supposed to apparently impact South Carolina at some point in the next couple of weeks? Has anybody been tracking that?
I'd love to hear. This stems out of the Canadian boycott, and it was somebody was calling for them to boycott the Super Bowl. That didn't work out, but I have not heard that. Anybody? All right, I'll do some due diligence on that one and report back next week. All right. All right. Well, what else we got today? I know it's opening day of baseball for the Gamecocks. Go women's basketball won again last night. 18th consecutive double-double for Ms. Boston. And I was glad to see Coach Staley standing up for her star player this week and pushing for player of the year. I love it when a coach goes to bat for the players. All right, I'm about to call on people.
Hey, Carl, this is Doug at Tyson.
Hey, Doug.
Morning, everybody. So question for everybody out there, since you guys are involved in a lot of industry, I'm sure, with the CDC, what are you guys seeing in the facilities out there, whether it's a bakery or red meat or anything like that, as far as mask mandates? Anybody?
I read an article this week about food prep and healthcare. They're not entertaining doing away with those mask mandates yet. I'm seeing is anybody agrees, disagrees? I know healthcare and manufacturing plants, especially food prep, have been off the table. But most states are repealing their mandates, but I think healthcare and manufacturing has been exempt from those recalls.
I think right now, Carl, and I'm just speaking from what I've understood, is our percentages dropped to hardly anything here at the plant. And I know I invited you out before, which I still ask you to come out, is that, I mean, we have a pretty good distance between the team members, but I would be saying that probably over the next 60 days or less that I think you're gonna see something out there in the meat industry, that some of these mask mandates could be reduced.
I know a lot of folks, and for that matter, some school districts still are mandating as well. So hopefully we'll open up. I think with some of the bluer states pulling back their mask mandates in some of the big cities as well. I think we'll see that shortly.
Yeah, and I can tell everybody, Tyson has 97% or above vaccinated throughout 130,000 team members nationwide. So that's huge.
Wow, that's
And
impressive.
we do boosters at the plants in a lot of our facilities once a month because of how it lines up with the last time you had your second vaccination and how many days it has to be depending on what it was till you do your booster. But we do free boosters at our plant for the team members and their family.
That's good. That's good.
It's a big deal.
Good practice there. All right, who else got something for the good?
Hey, Carl, this is Jim Morris with the South Carolina Council on Economic Education.
Hello.
I'll throw out something for that loose money, one-time money that's flinging around out there. Wouldn't it be cool to have a new governor's school for business and entrepreneurship here in the Midlands area? We've got one in Greenville. We've got one in Hartsville. Take a one-time money, put it here in this region. A governor's school is one that's like a boarding school for high school juniors and seniors. But at any rate, be kind of cool. If anybody's got any ideas, feel free to reach out to me, and we're going to see what we can do to move that along.
All right, great. Thanks for the heads up on that. Love to see the governor's school expand. All right, anybody else? Tom, everything good? You got any report for anybody?
College is cruising along. The good news for a lot of the parents out there is we're going to have swimming lessons again this summer and camps and so forth. So I can't tell you all the details because I can't keep track of all of those things, but it'll be fun to have the kids running around campus again this summer.
Yeah, it would. Feeling a little bit of normalcy. That's great. Thank you. All right, last chance before y'all race out and get some Hostess caffeinated donuts. What is a donut anyway? Never mind. Somebody else can research that for me. All right. We won't press the envelope. We'll call it a wrap there. I'll be here next Friday. Hope you will too. Thanks for being here today. Hope you'll have a great weekend and enjoy the warmer weather and maybe some sunshine this weekend. So y'all take care. Be careful. See you soon.